And last night, the South African Future Trust, which is an initiative of the Oppenheimer family, awarded some of South Africa's top entrepreneurs in the SAFT Awards. And these are a launchpad for innovative ideas, offering recognition for tough entrepreneurial grind, celebrating the power of entrepreneurship to change lives in this very challenging economy of South Africa's. They recognize entrepreneurial ventures in 6 categories: tech entrepreneur, most innovative idea, social entrepreneur, women in business, that's in partnership with Standard Bank, youth entrepreneur, and best implementation of the 2023 SAFT Summit Playbook, with the latter category reserved for delegates who attended that summit. Jonathan Oppenheimer joins us now to tell us more. Jonathan, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time.
Afternoon, and great to be online and on air. Hopefully it holds up.
Yes. Aren't you in Johannesburg or somewhere like that? Or maybe you're in a part of the world where...
You talked about being in the Congo. I'm in Zimbabwe.
Okay. Well, then maybe it might not hold up. So the Oppenheimer family, we know, is very wealthy. And with that, and we can be as envious as we like of the wealth of the Oppenheimer family. But with that wealth comes responsibility. And I suppose one way of discharging at least some of that responsibility is through something like the South African Future Trust.
100%. I mean, I'm depending on which side of the family I look at, either 4th or 7th generation South African. It's home. I don't know anywhere else. I don't hold another passport. It is exactly where I belong. And making sure that South Africa has the best chance of succeeding, the best chance of our citizens growing in prosperity is absolutely at the core of a lot of what we do.
And entrepreneurship is absolutely critical. I know it's often said and it's widely believed, and unfortunately, sometimes the principle doesn't get put into practice, but we really do need to find a way of encouraging more people to take entrepreneurial routes with their lives, to support them when they fail, because failure is part of entrepreneurship, and to grow the community, because by growing the entrepreneurial community, we grow the number of people in jobs, which means we grow tax revenue, we lessen hunger, and we do a whole range of incredibly important downstream things.
Couldn't agree more. And you're 100% right. What we need to do is try and find and create and support an environment where entrepreneurs feel as if they have a tailwind rather than a headwind. And if you go to any gathering of entrepreneurs today and you ask the question of the audience, do you face headwinds or tailwinds? 95% of the population of that audience will put their hands up and say we face headwinds. And it's how we start to think about creating a world where entrepreneurs, small businesses, those who are at really the fuel that drives our economy can and have the capability to succeed with these brilliant, incredible ideas that so many of them have.
What are the important things in driving that success? Is it primarily about financial support?
No, not necessarily. There are a whole bunch of things. And in the end, I guess you could say it comes down to financials, but access to information, being able to understand your market, understand management of logistics flows, all of which in the end manifest as financials. But it's not just look at the financials, it's fix those things, fix the logistics, fix the system, fix information flows, fix the cost of data, create an environment in which trust can be built. And I'm sure you've experienced this. If you're in a trusted environment, the speed of transaction, the speed of agreement is so much higher than in a distrusted environment. So it's how do we build a community or a space of trust? And a lot of what the South Africa Future Trust is doing is trying to imagine how you create these sort of lakes of trust. And we're calling that the hyperlocal environment. And we're spending a lot of time doing a lot of research, a lot of thought, a lot of interviews, a lot of interactions with all sorts of people trying to understand how you create and build and support these hyperlocal environments to be successful.
And what are some of the key learnings that you've come to?
How long is a piece of string? Time to payment is key. When you're a startup, when you're a small business, when you're an entrepreneur, waiting 90 days to 120 days for payment is lethal. You can't carry that working cost. Access to good data is key. The cost and the availability of deep data is key. And that not only is true for the businesses themselves, it's true for the communities. I mean, if you are a worker in any environment and you leave your child in ECD educational space and you go away, one, you want to have a trusted relationship with the ECD provider, but two, wouldn't it be great to be able to access cheap data so that you could look in on your child while you were working remotely to see that they were being looked after, fed, provided a safe, sanitarily sound environment where there was good pedagogy that was providing them with a set of experiences which were equipping them for life. That builds trust in the community. And how do we do that? How do we facilitate effectively trade financing of some sort with businesses so that instead of being a small business struggling to get paid in 90 days, even with a factoring arrangement, you're getting the bulk of that cash flow in 10 days? What does that do to the opportunity? How do you build the trust in a community so that they are comfortable using the skills and services that are in that community so that the entrepreneur doesn't have to get in their vehicle and leave the community to go and do their day's work? How do you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, we just touched on the issues, and I think we're beginning to solve those problems.
The 2024 South African Future Trust Summit is coming up. Who should be there, and how do they get there?
Anybody and everybody. I mean, in the first instance, we want entrepreneurs and small businesses to be there because South Africa Future Trust started out as an endeavor to protect and help small business during the COVID pandemic. But we equally want to expand that to everybody who would exist in that hyperlocal community we've just been speaking about. And our whole idea is to create a space where people can feed off each other, people can interact with experts in different fields, whether it be for profit or social entrepreneurship. And it's one incredible sort of marketplace where you can learn, you can transact, you can interact, and you leave enriched from when you came. And that's exactly what we're trying to create. And we're hopeful that we're going to have an incredible list of people who will present and share their life experiences. We're going to have breakout systems where people can go and ask questions of the audience. And then finally, we also want to make it wonderfully interactive. So we're going to hopefully, and we're working towards the details of this, kind of have a Dragon's Den element where people can pitch initially ahead of the conference and then in the conference. And at the end of the conference, we'll literally have an award ceremony where hopefully capital will be provided to some of the best and brightest entrepreneurs who attend it.
Thank you very, very much. I'm delighted the signal held out for the length of our conversation. That was Jonathan Oppenheimer of the South African Future Trust, and that conversation brought to us by the South African Future Trust. They believe in a South Africa rich with possibilities. For more information on the awards and the summit about which Jonathan was talking, visit southafricanfuturetrust.org.